I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows. And I wished I had siblings.
What she told the royal family, what she told Harry, wouldn't have jived, wouldn't have been consistent with the truth. I believe she had a clear motive for writing family off because it would seemingly justify and perhaps delay the revelation of all of the lies that she had told the royal family.
Oh, honey. The gavel didn't just fall that day, it exploded like a royal scandal bomb. September 9th, 2025, mark it down because the drama was chef's kiss. Inside the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, Meghan Markle's shiny legal empire finally cracked. And not just a little crack, think shattered glass everywhere. Chief Judge William Pryor didn't just raise an eyebrow at her lawyers. Oh no, he torched them. The man practically roasted her high-priced legal dream team alive. One brutal remark after another echoed through that courtroom like thunder, leaving Meghan's lawyers scrambling like panicked interns. While Samantha Markle's lawyer stood there grinning like a cat who just stole the royal cream. Royal watchers absolutely clutching their pearls. It was carnage.
Ongoing saga. Yet another chapter with more megalomania. They're going to dig out all of those insults. They're going to keep referencing the with love Meghan. Well, I can tell you there's no love lost between those two.
And get this. One insider whispered that after Judge Pryor spoke, the silence was so heavy you could cut it with a crown. And that was just his opening act. Because what he did in that courtroom didn't just rattle Meghan's attorneys, it rattled her entire brand. And honey, it only gets wilder from here.
I didn't do anything. And it's just, she just woke up one day in a new world and decided that she doesn't have any family.
Let's talk about the main players in this royal soap opera. Judge William Pryor, picture the Grim Reaper in a robe, precise, brutal, and utterly done with sloppy arguments. Then you've got Peter Tickton, Samantha Markle's lawyer, the man who turned Meghan's defense into a buffet line, literally branding it a smorgasbord of excuses. Brutal. And then Meghan, the Duchess of Damage Control herself. Normally, she's got her crisis managers and global PR machines spinning gold. But here, she was miles away, watching her legal squad transform into the most expensive interns California has ever seen. The secondhand embarrassment was real.
Lost my father. We knew that she didn't lose our dad. She iced our father.
For years, Meghan sold herself as untouchable, polished, perfect, always in control. But when Judge Pryor said her team's arguments were beside the point, it wasn't just criticism. It was a legal obituary, broadcast to everyone following the case. And word is, Montecito phones started ringing before Meghan even finished her oat latte. And guess what? That still wasn't the strangest part.
In 2022, the Duchess of Sussex estranged half-sister Samantha Markle sued Meghan Markle for allegedly defaming her in multiple interviews, including that 2021 tell-all with Oprah Winfrey.
Receipt number 1, Judge Pryor's verbal beatdown. Eyewitnesses said Meghan's lawyers froze like deer in headlights. GB News commentators straight up called it a beatdown in robes. One poor lawyer's hands were shaking so badly it looked like he was stirring invisible tea.
Physician was not allowed to examine her wound. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but if I were pregnant with a royal child, you would want that child in the best care of the best medical practitioners that money could buy.
Receipt number 2, that now infamous smorgasbord line. Tickton shredded Meghan's defense, calling it a sloppy buffet of excuses. That single word went viral. One commentator joked that her lawyers served leftovers, not a case. Savage.
Has personality profile that perfectly enables someone who is an alleged narcissist.
And receipt number 3, the unthinkable. Meghan's elite legal squad admitted mistakes. In open court, Hollywood's most expensive team basically confessed they'd overlooked key issues. Legal analysts didn't hold back, calling it malpractice in real time. Every single stumble just fed Samantha's case more fire. Insiders swore you could practically see Tickton suppressing a smile as Meghan's lawyers dug their own grave. But babe, that courtroom chaos, it was just the beginning. Because once social media got a whiff of it, things exploded.
I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows. And I wished I had siblings.
Twitter didn't just react, it erupted. Hashtags like #smorgasbord defense and #Markle meltdown rocketed to the top of the trends list.
We thought, my brother and I thought, a pretty normal life. But it wasn't until the time of the wedding when the media started to get to us.
One meme showed Meghan's lawyers standing behind a buffet table with trays labeled, "Oops, we forgot that," and "Next excuse." TikTok creators went wild, reenacting the hearing with wigs and gavel sound effects, lip-syncing Judge Pryor's brutal words, "Beside the point." Millions watched, millions laughed. Reddit detectives even built whole case boards, piecing together timelines like it was some true crime documentary. The top comment? Samantha didn't need a legal team. Meghan's lawyers did her work for her. And the tabloids, oh, they feasted. UK front pages screamed, "Markle's smorgasbord disaster." US outlets dubbed her Duchess of Denial and Queen of Excuses. The internet didn't just watch her humiliation, it turned it into entertainment. And Meghan? Silent. No Insta posts, no glossy statement, just silence. Which only made the speculation so much worse. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, things were anything but quiet. Sources whispered about emergency Zoom calls with crisis PR firms, Harry pacing like a storm cloud, Meghan's team drafting frantic spin that sounded less like a defense and more like damage control triage. Here's the problem. Meghan's brand is built on competence and control. She sold herself as the woman who outsmarts the palace, conquers Hollywood, and never loses. So what happens when her own lawyers admit they weren't prepared? That image crumbles, and fast. Hollywood noticed. Streaming partners quietly reviewed their deals. Publishing houses whispered about liability clauses. One executive even leaked that the Sussex brand feels fragile. Suddenly, it wasn't just Spotify and Netflix failures haunting her. This wasn't PR cleanup. It was brand triage. The Duchess of Sussex was smack in the middle of a storm she couldn't spin her way out of. And here's the kicker. This fallout wasn't just Montecito gossip, it was the start of a much bigger unraveling. And here's why Samantha's side is celebrating. They didn't just win a courtroom moment, they flipped the entire narrative. For years, Samantha's lawsuits were painted as petty. Now, she's the sister who cracked Meghan's shiny armor, and when invincibility shatters, every other opponent gets braver. More lawsuits, more challenges, more sharks circling the waters. Critics are already stitching this courtroom meltdown into a pattern. The Spotify grifter humiliation, the Netflix backlash, the age controversy whispers, and now this legal disaster. Royal insiders are comparing it to Prince Andrew's infamous BBC interview, a credibility collapse you cannot PR away. Because if Meghan's million-dollar legal dream team can't handle Samantha Markle, how will they handle the next challenger? And if they can fumble something as basic as courtroom competence, what else have they been rewriting all this time? So here's the cliffhanger, darling. Was this just one sister's sweet revenge, or the start of Meghan's full-blown unraveling? Because if a single word, smorgasbord, can reduce her entire defense to a meme, just imagine what will happen when the bigger sharks start circling. Do you think Meghan's legal empire is finished, or can her team spin this back? Comment below, I need to know your thoughts, and hit subscribe, because if this courtroom clash was just the appetizer, the main course of Meghan's downfall is still on its way. And let's be real, this wasn't just a courtroom loss, this was a public unmasking. Meghan had built her image like a glass palace, sparkling, flawless, untouchable. And in one afternoon, Judge Pryor came in like a wrecking ball, leaving shards everywhere. The whispers behind closed doors? Deafening. PR insiders are saying this hearing did more damage to her reputation than years of tabloid attacks ever could. Why? Because this wasn't gossip. It was legal reality. Cold, undeniable, on the record, and everyone saw it. It's one thing to fend off rumors. It's another when a federal judge is rolling his eyes at your lawyers in broad daylight. And Samantha is thriving. The woman who was once branded as the bitter sister suddenly looks like the underdog who slayed a Goliath. Overnight, her name flipped from attention seeker to the one who exposed the Duchess. Paparazzi who used to ignore her are now camping outside her house like it's Buckingham Palace. Hollywood gossip blogs are treating her like the new wild card in the royal saga. The timing couldn't have been worse for Meghan either. Insiders say brands were already quietly questioning her bankability. And now, one exec was quoted saying, "She's starting to feel like a risky bet." That is lethal in Hollywood speak. The Sussex name once guaranteed buzz. Now it triggers boardroom panic. Suddenly, Meghan isn't the powerful rebel who escaped the palace. She's the Duchess who got wrecked by her own sister in court. That's how people are framing it. Deals are stalling. Invitations are drying up. PR execs are calling it brand decay. And this is where it gets dangerous, because if companies start pulling away, that becomes its own story. It snowballs. First the courtroom humiliation, then the headlines, then the deals disappear. It's how Hollywood exiles happen. Fast, silent, and brutal. Samantha's side knows this too, and they're loving it. What started as a lawsuit has become a full-blown reputation war, and Samantha's winning. The woman who was once mocked is now suddenly cast as the truth teller. She's getting glowing press, sympathetic interviews, and even brand offers. Imagine that. Samantha Markle, the once ignored sister, now being treated like she brought down a duchess. That's how wild this saga has gotten. And Meghan? She's stuck. If she attacks Samantha, she looks petty. If she ignores her, she looks weak. Either way, Samantha wins. It's a masterclass in reputation flipping, and Meghan's watching it happen from the sidelines. Even royal insiders are whispering that this is the beginning of Meghan's credibility collapse. They're comparing it to the Prince Andrew interview, not because of scandal content, but because of how fast public trust evaporated. That's the part Meghan's team fears most. Not the court case, not Samantha's smile, but the shift in perception. Because once the public stops believing in your invincibility, everything unravels. This wasn't just a legal embarrassment, it was a spotlight ripping through her carefully curated image. People are starting to ask, if she can't handle her own sister's lawsuit, how can she handle anything bigger? What else has been smoke and mirrors all along? So here's where we stand. Meghan's team is silent. Samantha's team is smug. The internet is howling. And Meghan's once bulletproof brand is wobbling like a crystal crown on a shaky shelf. Was this just one court loss or the start of a royal implosion? Because if one word, smorgasbord, can drag her empire to the edge, what happens when the next scandal hits? Maybe this isn't just the end of a case. Maybe it's the first domino in Meghan's long, slow tumble. And honestly, the world is watching, popcorn in hand.